Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. The president has rolled out a reopening of America plan that I have to say that is not a bad plan, but I do have concerns. My big question is, why didn't we do this from the start? But okay, in the spirit of better late than never, we should really consider this plan. Now, before I get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Well, a couple of weeks ago, the president and a lot of TV pundits and radio personalities and other personalities, their conversation began to shift from the seriousness of the virus. You know, the number of cases and death and where and how fast it was spreading in certain cities, to we have to get back on course. And it was almost a calculated campaign where they begin to shift the need for people to get back in circulation into the country. The problem with that, and I want to talk about some of the reasons why, that I understand, one, that this virus is killing our economy the longer it lingers, that the economy is dying, and we can't have that, right? But then on the other hand, people are dying from the virus. People are getting infected with the disease, and of course, some are dying. Now, just remember, in our country, we have just America. We have over 700,000 cases of coronavirus infection, with 38,000 deaths. And so if you want to break it down to state, it even gets even worse, New York being the worst. But here's the problem. And as I said before, while I think the president, I understand why he's saying that, but then I think there's a recklessness to it, to the point that now he's even the campaign is to make governors who are concerned about the spread of the virus the enemy. The problem with that is you need to understand the pros and cons. Well, let's get to the bad part first. In other words, if you say we're going to reopen, and I'm going to get to this plan in a moment, but if you say that we need to go back out into workforce, okay, remember this reality. This virus is active with no cure or vaccination. And secondly, remember the problem with this virus, it is highly contagious. Meaning this virus spreads faster than probably nothing we have ever seen. The rate at which it fasts, the ease at which we can get infected. And that's why it makes this particular COVID-19 virus extremely dangerous. So that if you don't have a plan, a good plan, and if you just throw people out, then you're going to say, okay, this virus is going to spark up again. And let's not forget that our numbers daily are going up. And even though the president has said that he's going to roll out this plan, just remember the number I gave you, this 700,000 cases, is going to go up by tomorrow. Now, with that said, you may say, well, we have to do something because it is killing our economy. And thus the president has rolled out a slow, step-by-step plan to get America back on right? To get back on track. Now I'm going to say is that I think it's a good plan. And I'm going to lay some blame here because I'm going to say, well, why didn't you do this from the beginning? And this is why I say that. Other nations who have gotten control of the virus, for example, South Korea. South Korea, from the beginning, and here's the interesting thing here. South Korea and the United States reported their first case of COVID-19 on the same day. Now, South Korea aggressively jumped aboard. They aggressively got ahead of it by aggressive testing. And so as a result of that, and they have different measures of which they do that, by aggressively testing, they're able to identify who is infected and deal with it, quarantine or whatever. Now, America, we didn't do that, right? We were slow out the gate. The problem now is, let me go to my world thing here, by the way. Let me show you my world. I think we have almost 2 million. 2 million. The world thing is we have 2 million, over 2 million cases with 159,000 deaths with almost 600,000 people recovered. I want to break it down to nations. Of course, the United States lead every other nation by 2-1, as I said before. Then there's Spain. Then there's Spain with 190,000. There's Italy with 175,000. France with 150,000. Germany 143,000. And it drops down to 114,000 with the UK. China 82,000. Again, we don't know. We can't trust those numbers because they're not reporting. And it goes down from there. Here's my point. We still have an active disease that's growing. So countries like South Korea, they jumped on it with aggressive testing. And this is what the United States is kind of proposing now, is to limit space, right? Do more testing. Here's the problem. Be safe. And I want to say, because you have people who are willing to go out because Americans are not used to being told not to do something. And just like with human nature, you could have been a homebody who never went out until all of a sudden somebody tells you you can't go out. Now all of a sudden you have cabin fever. Well, here's the point. If you go out, and if we go out prematurely, could that spark this virus even worse? Remember, the reality is that we're still growing in our numbers, that every state in the union is still growing. Now, the president's plan is to, implement testing. And if they do that, as other nations who have gotten control of the spread of the virus do, fine. What is interesting about South Korea is that they didn't even impose restrictions as we have done. And that's amazing with that. Here's my point. I'm for anything that's positive. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to lay aside the hard criticism. And I'm going to say, if they fall through with aggressive testing, then the other course is, once you've tested, then what do you do with those that are positive? Because the problem with America, remember, is that right now we have over 700,000 people who are affected. And of course, we have to, and that's just those who are reported. Of course, the numbers are higher because we haven't tested them. But if we're able to do that, then one, we have to identify, that it will quickly identify, I should say, who is infected. But then what about treatment? And we have to have measures for that. So we got to stay tuned for that and see how the president is doing that. But I'm going to say this in the spirit of better late than never. At least it's now a start. And yes, we can get back on track with our nation if we do that. But also take personal responsibility. Wash your hands. Be mindful that this virus, it lands on surfaces. And when you touch surfaces, you transfer the virus from surfaces such as desks, objects, and then when you touch your face, it is introduced into your body through your eyes, nose, and mouth, and that's how you can track the virus. Be mindful of that. Wear a mask, gloves if you have them, but also wash your hands. Wash your hands like you've never washed them before. All right, guys, that is my perspective, and as always, if you like this video, please share it, or like and share this video. And if you have a thought or comment, don't forget to add it. All comments are welcome. And please subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. Till next time, I'll see you then.